So here I am at the Exton Square Mall in Exton, Pennsylvania. Undoubtedly one of the deadest malls in the greater Philadelphia area, this place really gives Neshaminy Mall a run for its money. This was my first time coming here. I'm not exactly from this area, but I had been reading a lot of things online about how this mall is dead and a ghost town, and I just had to see it for myself, and it did not disappoint. The mall was opened in March of 1973 by the Rouse Company on the site of the old Zook family farm, and the Zook family house actually still exists on this property today. The only original anchor store was Strawbridge and Clothier, which was located at the center of the mall and surrounded by a ring of smaller stores. Straight ahead of us is where Strawbridge and Clothier was located up until 2006 when it became Macy's. Here's a picture of one of the entrances when it was Strawbridge and Clothier, and I'm guessing this is from the second floor since the ceiling is so high, but take a look at that amazing fountain. I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out to be one of the 50 or so Macy's that ends up closing in 2025. I don't think any official announcements have been made yet as to which ones are closing, but I do know that Macy's plans to close about 50 stores per year over the next 3 years. The announcements will probably come after Christmas. Now, this entire corridor of the mall that I'm in now is part of the Mainline Health Center on both sides. So it looks really dead, but there is actually stuff going on behind those walls. It opened in 2014 and is 32,000 square feet in total. This here was JCPenney, which opened in 2000 as a new addition to the mall, and closed in 2014. The first floor became Round 1 Entertainment in 2016, and the second floor has been vacant ever since JCPenney closed. But yeah, overall there are very few stores on the first floor. There's one on the right and one on the left where I'm walking now. But other than that, so far, I've only seen Macy's and Round 1 Entertainment. So that's a total of 4 stores that I've passed at this point in the video. Now, the first floor only goes 3/4 of the way around the mall, while the second floor wraps all the way around the Macy's. So I'm going to head upstairs now, take a look at the second floor, then come back down and finish the first floor. The mall was virtually unchanged from when it opened in 1973 up until the 90s, when the Rouse Company decided that it was time to modernize and expand it. West Whiteland Township approved the expansion plans in 1997, and groundbreaking took place later that year. In 1998, the Zook House, which at that point was the mall management office, was relocated to make way for the new expansion. The expansion consisted of 3 new anchor stores, a food court, and 2 new parking garages, as well as a completed second floor, which I guess that means that the second floor used to only wrap 3/4 of the way around the mall like the first floor still does. Sears, Boscov's, and the food court opened in 1999, followed by JCPenney and some new smaller stores in 2000. That over there was the second floor entrance to JCPenney, and like I said, it's been vacant ever since JCPenney closed. Here's a picture of what it looked like when it was JCPenney. And normally when a department store closes at a mall, they'll put up drywall so that you can't see through, but you can still see inside. The expansion at the turn of the century cost $125 million and saw the mall more than double in size. It also saw the number of stores increase from 95 to 150. In 2003, the Rouse Company sold Exton Square Mall to PREIT in a $548 million deal that also included Cherry Hill Mall, Echelon Mall, Morristown Mall, Plymouth Meeting Mall, and the Gallery at Market East. Now, it seems like PREIT did try to revitalize this place back in the 2010s. I already mentioned the Mainline Healthcare Center on the first floor, which opened in 2014, as well as the Round One Entertainment, which opened up on the first floor of JCPenney in 2016. Also in 2016, PREIT acquired the former Kmart, which was located on an outparcel, and demolished it in order to build a Whole Foods market, which opened in 2018. PREIT has had some success revitalizing other properties in the area. Cherry Hill Mall is still doing very well. And although Morristown Mall and Plymouth Meeting Mall are struggling, they're not doing nearly as badly as the Exton Square Mall. PREIT at least seems to be trying to keep those ones alive. From what I've read, the mall's struggles have really accelerated since about 2019, when the Sears closed, leaving the mall with just two anchor stores. It's also struggled to compete with the much larger King of Prussia Mall, which is located 14 miles away, which is only about a 20-minute drive from here. By September of 2019, the mall had a vacancy rate of 35%, excluding the anchor stores. Notable stores that have left the mall include H&M, Zumiez, Charlotte Russe, LensCrafters, and Banana Republic, along with many food court tenants. Some of these places have moved to other nearby shopping centers, while others have closed altogether. Here's Boscov's, which is the only remaining anchor store other than Macy's, and for some reason it looks like they've closed off the old entrance and replaced it with double glass doors on either side. I'm not sure why they did that, but they did the same thing at the Monmouth Mall. In March 2022, it was announced that PREIT would sell the mall to Brandywine Realty Trust, but that deal ended up falling through. Recently, the mall has had issues with roof leaks as well as molds. People have also reported online that the air conditioning system no longer seems to be functional in the summer as of the last year or so. I'm not sure if it broke or if the mall just doesn't want to pay for it anymore. But that undoubtedly makes for a very unpleasant shopping experience in the summer. I've been to malls in the summer where the air conditioner wasn't working, and I couldn't wait to get out of there. One thing I noticed when I was walking around the mall was a lot of closed businesses still had their signs up. Now, just recently in November of 2024, it was reported that PREIT is in the process of selling the mall to Abrams Realty and Development, which plans to tear down part of the mall and build residential units, similar to what's happening at the Neshaminy Mall and the Monmouth Mall. That seems to be something that's happening at a lot of dead malls. Now, what exactly this redevelopment will look like remains to be seen. We're probably a few years out from anything actually happening. Only time will tell. I can tell that that on the left used to be Hollister, though it looks like they repainted it. Coming up here is Sears, which opened in 1999 and closed in 2019, and it's been vacant ever since. Like the JCPenney, you can also see inside, and it looks pretty well maintained, so something could probably move in there pretty quickly if they wanted to. Now, whether someone actually does want to move in there, I doubt. I'm not sure who owns the Sears building. I don't think it's Transformco, the parent company of Sears, because it's not listed on their website as one of their properties. If it's owned by the mall, then I can see it getting demolished. On the left here was the children's place. I'm not sure when it closed. They did kind of a bad job of taking down the sign. And it looks like they turned it into some sort of play area. The door was open, but there was a sign that said closed, so I'm not sure what was going on there. Now, this used to be Express, as you can see from the label scar, and it looks like they turned it into a gym. I'm not sure if the gym is out of business or if it just wasn't open yet when I was here. I was here around 12:30 p.m. on a Saturday, so it's possible they just weren't open yet. But at the same time, there's no sign, so I'm pretty sure it's out of business, and they just never removed their equipment. On the right there, I'm fairly certain used to be Gertrude Hawk's chocolate. Now we're in the food court, which is not doing well at all. There's only a few places left here. 3 in total, when there were 13 at one time. You've got a pizza place, which usually seems to be one of the last things left in a mall food court. And then over there you've got a burger place. And the only other place is Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is actually an original tenant of the mall. Of course, it wasn't always in this location because the food court only opened in '99, but it was actually the first Chick-fil-A in Pennsylvania. As far as I'm aware, Chick-fil-A is the only remaining original tenant of the mall. I have to say, I really like this mall, even though I don't have any personal memories of it, and I was never here when it was doing well. I just really like the aesthetic of it. I like the way it's laid out. And I'm also a big fan of the plants. There's a lot of plants around the mall, which is something that you don't see often anymore. Sadly, though, there don't seem to be any fountains left. But yeah, in this age of dying retail, it's just really hard to compete, especially when you're so close to King of Prussia Mall, which is the largest and busiest mall in this area. There's quite a few outdoor shopping centers as well in this area that have undoubtedly taken customers away from the mall. Right across the street, there's a big shopping center anchored by Kohl's. There's also another shopping center nearby anchored by Giant and TJ Maxx, and yet another one anchored by Walmart. There's also a Target in the area. So there's no shortage of nearby competition. Anyway, that's it for the second floor. Not quite as dead as the first floor, but that's not saying much at all. So now let's head downstairs and check out the rest of the first floor. This here is the entrance to the mainline healthcare facility, but since I was here on a Saturday, they were closed. I guess they're only open during the week. It's definitely an innovative way to use mall space. In a lot of other countries, their malls are still thriving because they have a lot of essential businesses that everyone needs to go to, like medical offices, but also grocery stores, pharmacies, banks, things like that. American malls, on the other hand, are mostly luxuries and not necessities, which is probably a reason why they are dying. That furniture store there still is open, according to Google, but it seemed to be closed when I was here. I'm not sure why. I didn't actually count the number of open stores versus closed stores. The Wikipedia article states that the occupancy rate was 62% as of 2024, but there's no way that's true. I would say maybe 25% at the most. The mall's website lists 36 stores, including the mall management office, which I thought was funny. But even if you do include that, there were 150 stores in 2000, so 36 is pretty sad. Now, there's one more little part of the mall that I almost missed, and I wouldn't have seen if I hadn't decided to go to the bathroom before I left. And that is the community room. On the wall, there's some signs that go over the history of this property back when it was the Zook family farm, and I thought that was really cool. The farm was here for a very long time, going all the way back to the 18th century, so about 200 years before the mall was built. And it's nice to see them paying homage to the family. Unfortunately, the text is so small that I don't think it's going to come out in the video. This one here shows you how the Zook House was originally located on what is now the Boscovs, and it was actually physically moved in 1998 to make room for the Boscovs. But yeah, I just thought that was such a neat little touch. And hopefully, when the new owners redevelop the property, they'll find a new place for that stuff, because it's just so cool. Assuming that this part of the mall gets demolished. Again, we don't know yet what exactly is going to happen. Will the entire mall be demolished? Will only part of it be demolished? Will it become an open-air shopping center? That remains to be seen. As of the time I'm uploading this, the sale hasn't even gone through yet, so it'll probably be some months before we find out what's going to happen. I really wish I could have seen this mall back when it was still doing well, because like I said, it's just such a nice mall, I think, and it's sad to see the current state of it. But I am glad I got to see it while it's still intact, and hopefully I'll get another chance to come by before they start knocking it down. So that is the Exton Square Mall. What does the future hold for it? Only time will tell. But if you do want to see it the way it is now, then you should probably try to get out here as soon as you can. Of course, I couldn't leave without checking out the Zook House. This land was sold in 1683 by William Penn to a Welsh Quaker named Richard Thomas. This area was part of the Welsh Tracts, which was an area of Pennsylvania where Welsh Quakers lived and conducted their affairs in Welsh. There's actually a lot of Welsh place names in this part of the state. Richard Thomas's son, also named Richard, claimed the land and ended up selling it to an English Quaker named John Morgan in 1718. Then in 1734, Morgan sold the land to another Quaker named William Owen, and it was Owen who built the house in 1750. In 1760, he sold the land to James Brown. Then James Brown sold it to the Zook family in 1770, and 6 generations of the Zook family lived in the house until 1970. In 1976, it was added to the National Register of Historic Places. Then in 1998, it was moved 300 feet to the southwest to make room for the new Boscovs. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.